Welcome, rare gems. Have you ever wondered why some people seem unsettled by women who simply live life on their own terms? A Sigma female is not trying to be mysterious or difficult, yet she often ends up being misunderstood. This is not because she is doing something wrong, but because most people are used to certain patterns of behavior, and she simply does not follow them. The truth is that normal people often operate in a social rhythm where approval and belonging drive almost every action. When someone like a Sigma female comes along with a different rhythm, she does not blend in the way they expect. Instead of following the usual script, she writes her own. This can be inspiring, but it can also confuse and even intimidate others. Here is what you must understand. Being perceived differently is not a flaw to fix. It is proof that you are not shaped by the comfort zones of others. People may see your independence as distance or your quiet confidence as pride, but their perception is not your reality. You do not have to prove your intentions to everyone who misreads you. You do not have to dilute yourself so others can digest you easily. The very qualities that make you hard to label are the same qualities that will lead you toward the life you truly want. So, if you are a Sigma female or feel a deep connection to this way of being, take this as encouragement. You are not strange, you are simply not ordinary. Let's dive deeper. Number 1. Your privacy triggers suspicion. It is strange how, in today's world, keeping your personal life to yourself can make people more curious than if you shared everything. We live in a time where posting your breakfast, your arguments, and your deepest feelings online is considered normal. When someone chooses not to do that, it makes others uneasy. They start to wonder what you are hiding, as if privacy is no longer a basic right, but a sign of guilt. A Sigma female understands the value of keeping certain parts of her life untouched by outside eyes. This does not mean she is secretive in a manipulative way. It means she protects her peace by not allowing every opinion and judgment to interfere with her choices. Yet to the average person who is used to oversharing, this guarded nature can feel suspicious. Think of it like this. Imagine being in a group where everyone lays all their cards on the table, but you keep yours close. They might start whispering about the kind of hand you have, rather than noticing you simply do not want to play that game. This is what happens in real life too. Privacy makes people fill in the blanks, and most will fill it with something negative rather than positive. Some might even try to push you to open up just to satisfy their curiosity. They will disguise it as concern, but often it is just a need to feel in control of the story they tell themselves about you. The truth is, you do not owe your life story to anyone who has not earned the right to hear it. Protecting your private world is not being difficult. It is being intentional. And while others may create their own narratives in the absence of information, those who truly know you will never need an explanation. Privacy is not a wall to keep people out. It is a filter that lets the right ones in. Number 2. They will either resent her or secretly admire her. Never both. With a Sigma female, people rarely sit on the fence. They either resent her or secretly admire her, but almost never both. Her way of living, her choices, and the way she carries herself force people to pick a side, even if they do not say it out loud. For some, she is a mirror they are not ready to look into. They see her independence, her ability to make her own path without constant approval, and it unsettles them. Deep down, they might wish they could do the same, but fear and habit keep them tied to the familiar. Instead of admitting that, it is easier to label her as difficult or too much. Resentment becomes a mask for their own discomfort. Then there are the quiet admirers. They watch her navigate life without bending to every demand, and they feel a spark of inspiration. They may never say it to her face, but they are studying her every move. How does she walk away from situations that drain her? How does she stay calm when everyone else is losing themselves? To them, she is proof that it is possible to live without surrendering your identity to fit in. This split happens because she cannot be manipulated. Those who rely on control feel powerless around her. She does not respond to guilt trips, peer pressure, or subtle attempts to steer her decisions. To someone who thrives on bending others to their will, her refusal to play along is a quiet rebellion. Picture a workplace where a group is gossiping to influence a colleague's opinion. A Sigma female listens without reacting, then goes ahead and makes her own choice anyway. For the manipulators, this is frustrating. For the observers, it is refreshing. That is why there is almost never neutrality toward her. She makes people confront their own relationship with freedom and self-control. Some are drawn to it, others are threatened by it. Either way, she leaves an impression they cannot forget. Number 3. They confuse her integrity for stubbornness. For a Sigma female, integrity is not a word she throws around lightly. It is the backbone of her life, the compass she uses to navigate every choice, no matter how small. She is the kind of person who will quietly stand her ground, even when everyone else is leaning the other way. And because she refuses to bend her principles just to keep the peace, some people read that as stubbornness. It is not about being difficult for the sake of it. She simply understands that peace, bought at the price of self-betrayal, is not peace at all. If a conversation turns into a game of moral shortcuts or justifying wrong behavior because everyone's doing it, she will not go along just to avoid tension. She would rather walk away with her values intact than stay and smile while silently eroding her own self-respect. Think about a workplace meeting where everyone is agreeing to a decision that looks good on paper but feels wrong in practice. Maybe it benefits a few while quietly harming others. The Sigma female will be the one who says, "I can't support this," even if it means losing favor or making the room uncomfortable. She knows the difference between harmony and blind conformity. This unsettles people who build their sense of morality through group consensus. They feel safest when everyone thinks the same way, so her refusal to follow along challenges their comfort. It is easier for them to call her rigid than to admit she might be right. The irony is that her integrity is not loud. She does not give long speeches or try to convert others. She simply acts in alignment with her own code, even when no one is watching. That quiet consistency creates a strength that others may never understand until they are forced to face a choice that costs them something. To her, the approval of a crowd is fleeting, but the approval of her own conscience lasts a lifetime. And that is why she will always choose to stand alone rather than join in what she knows is wrong. Number 4. They interpret her contentment as a lack of drive. For a Sigma female, contentment is not about settling. It is about living fully in the present without being enslaved by the constant chase for what's next. She understands that life is not a never-ending race to hit milestones that society keeps shifting further away. While most people are wired to sprint from one goal to another, never stopping to breathe, she knows that the present moment has its own richness, and she refuses to let it slip by unnoticed. To the outside world, this can look like she lacks ambition. They see her choosing not to overwork herself for every shiny opportunity, and they assume she is being passive. What they do not realize is that her version of drive is different. She moves with purpose, not pressure. She is not chasing the next big thing just because everyone else is. Imagine a group of friends where everyone is talking about their next promotion, the next car, the next trip, the next move to a bigger house. The Sigma female might sit quietly, enjoying her coffee, listening, but not chiming in with her own list of nexts. It is not because she has no goals, it is because she is not living in a mental waiting room, always peeking into the future. She is in the now, and she is grounded in it. This approach unnerves people who measure worth by constant motion. To them, slowing down feels like falling behind. But to her, rushing blindly is the real risk, because that is how people end up climbing ladders that lean against the wrong wall. Her drive is steady and strategic. She knows when to move and when to stay still. She knows that chasing every rush of excitement can burn a person out before they even reach the real prize. She values peace over noise, depth over speed, and intention over impulse. Those who misjudge her think she is coasting. The truth is, she is building a life that is hers entirely, not one dictated by trends, comparisons, or pressure. And that is a kind of ambition most people never master. Number 5, they label her weird when they can't label her at all. People like things they can name. It makes them feel safe, as if once they put you in a category, they understand you. But a Sigma woman does not make that easy. She does not match the usual labels people are comfortable with. She is not the loud leader who craves the spotlight, nor the quiet follower who needs direction. She is not the constant social butterfly, yet she is not antisocial either. She moves in ways that do not follow a predictable pattern, and that unsettles people. When they cannot figure her out, they often reach for the simplest word they can think of: weird. It is a lazy label, a shortcut for their own lack of understanding. Instead of admitting, "I don't know how to read her," they say, "She's weird," as if that explains everything. In truth, it explains nothing. It only reveals their discomfort with not having a box to put her in. Imagine being at a family gathering where everyone is discussing careers, gossip, and surface-level updates. The Sigma woman listens, engages when she has something meaningful to add, and ignores the pressure to perform or overshare. To them, her presence feels different, and since they cannot decide if she is shy, confident, introverted, or extroverted, they simply label her different or odd. The irony is that the word weird is often used when someone quietly refuses to follow the invisible rules everyone else obeys. The Sigma woman does not break these rules to make a statement. She simply lives according to her own values, regardless of whether others approve. Calling her weird is not about her at all. It is a mask people wear to hide their confusion and sometimes their envy. They cannot define her, so they reduce her to a word that feels safe for them. But while they are busy naming her, she is busy living her life. Unbothered, unshaken, and far beyond the small boxes they cling to. Number 6. They view her unpredictability as instability. People like routines they can predict. They want to know what someone will do next, how they will react, and where they will be in a week or a year. It makes them feel secure, as if the world is under control. This is why a Sigma female unsettles some people without even trying. She does not follow a script they can memorize. One day she may spend hours deep in creative work, unreachable to anyone. The next she might pack a bag and take an unplanned trip to explore something that caught her interest. To her, this is simply living life on her own terms. To them, it looks like she is inconsistent. It is not that she is unstable. Far from it. Her decisions are grounded in a strong sense of self and clear priorities. She just refuses to live in a way that makes her predictable to the point of being boxed in. People who cannot understand that level of independence label her as difficult to figure out. The truth is they are frustrated because they cannot map her out like a train schedule. Imagine someone playing a board game. Most players move their pieces in obvious patterns, making it easy for opponents to guess their next move. The Sigma female, however, plays differently. She changes her strategy mid-game, not to confuse others for sport, but because she sees new opportunities and takes them. She is not playing to keep the table comfortable. She is playing to win her own way. The problem is that many see change as chaos. If they cannot follow her rhythm, they assume she has no rhythm at all. What they fail to realize is that she has a rhythm. They just cannot hear it. It is tuned to her own goals, her own instincts, and her own sense of timing. Her unpredictability is not a flaw. It is freedom in action. She is not worried about meeting the expectations of people who only feel safe when they can guess her every move. While they are busy trying to label her, she is already 10 steps ahead, moving towards something they will not see coming until it is too late. Number 7. They take her silence as judgment. Silence makes many people uneasy. They expect constant feedback, nods, smiles, quick responses, anything that shows you are engaged on their terms. When a Sigma female chooses to simply listen without rushing to react, it unsettles them. They start to wonder what she is thinking, and when they cannot figure it out, they often assume the worst. To them, her quiet is not observation, it is judgment. The truth is far less dramatic. A Sigma female is not silent because she is secretly critiquing every word. She is silent because she is processing. She listens to understand, not just to reply. In her world, words are not cheap, and she does not hand them out for the sake of filling space. Picture being at a group dinner where conversations are loud and overlapping. Most people are throwing in quick comments to keep the pace. The Sigma female leans back, listens, and takes in the flow of the discussion. She is noticing details others miss, how one person keeps interrupting another, how someone's story changes slightly each time they tell it, how the energy shifts when certain topics come up. She is collecting information, not judging characters. But because she does not match the frantic rhythm, someone might joke, "You're awfully quiet. Are you judging us?" This reaction says more about them than it does about her. People who need to be constantly seen and heard struggle to understand someone who is comfortable being an observer. They equate quiet with disapproval because they cannot imagine being silent without an agenda. For the Sigma female, silence is a tool. It gives her the space to decide if a conversation is even worth joining. It allows her to see the truth between the words. And when she finally speaks, her words carry weight precisely because they are not given lightly. Her silence is not judgment, it is discernment. And those who mistake it for criticism reveal just how uncomfortable they are with their own noise. Number 8. They mistake her focus for rudeness. When a Sigma female is in the middle of something important, she is completely absorbed. Her mind shuts out anything that is not connected to what she is working on. She is not the type to pretend to listen while secretly scrolling through her phone or nodding along to a conversation she is not paying attention to. When she's focused, she is fully there, and when she is not, she does not fake it. To some people, this feels cold. They might start talking to her while she is working, expecting her to drop everything and respond instantly. When she does not, they take it as an insult. They assume she is ignoring them on purpose, when in truth, her attention is just somewhere else entirely. It is like when you are reading a really good book and someone tries to chat with you in the middle of a gripping scene. You are not mad at them, but you are too wrapped up in what is happening on the page to process anything else. That is how a Sigma female treats her priorities. She knows that every interruption pulls her further away from what she is building, so she chooses to stay locked in. She is not built for constant distraction. The modern world celebrates being always available, but she values the opposite. If she is with you, she is fully with you. If she is working, she is fully working. That clear separation is not rudeness, it is respect. Respect for her own time and respect for doing things well. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this. Some will label her as distant or unfriendly, simply because she does not scatter her attention like confetti. What they miss is that this level of focus is rare. It is the reason she finishes what she starts. It is the reason she delivers work that feels intentional instead of rushed. If you are close to her, you will learn that her focus is actually a gift. When she turns it toward you, there is no one else in the room. You have her full attention, and she will give you the same depth she gives to her passions. That is not rudeness. That is her way of valuing what truly matters. Number 9. They assume she is lonely because they can't comprehend peace without people. Most people have been taught to equate being alone with being lonely. They see silence as something to escape, not something to embrace. This is why when a Sigma woman enjoys her own company, people around her often misread it. They assume she must be sad, isolated, or secretly wishing for more people in her life. The idea that someone could genuinely prefer quiet moments over constant socializing is almost unthinkable to them. A Sigma woman understands that peace is not dependent on how many people are around her. She can spend an entire weekend by herself and feel completely fulfilled. Maybe she is reading a book, walking in nature, or simply sitting with her thoughts. There is no emptiness in these moments, only clarity. But to someone who relies on noise, distraction, and social interaction to feel alive, this looks like loneliness. Think about a friend who cannot stand to eat alone. They would rather sit in a noisy cafe with strangers than have dinner at home by themselves. Now, imagine telling them you chose to spend your birthday hiking alone because it brings you joy. To them that sounds like a tragedy, but to you it is a celebration of freedom. This misunderstanding comes from projection. They cannot imagine enjoying their own company, so they assume you cannot either. They fill your silence with their fears. They believe that without people, there must be a void. when in reality, your solitude is overflowing with peace. The truth is that a Sigma woman does not avoid people out of bitterness. She simply knows that her happiness does not rely on constant interaction. Her peace is self-generated, and that is something many cannot comprehend. To her, solitude is not a punishment. It is a privilege. Those who mistake it for loneliness are only revealing how uncomfortable they are with themselves. Number 10. They think your quiet confidence is a facade. It is almost amusing how some people struggle to believe that quiet confidence can be real. In their minds, confidence must always be loud, constantly displayed, and proven through big gestures. So when they meet someone who carries themselves with ease without broadcasting it, they assume it must be an act. This disbelief often comes from their own experiences. Many have learned to fake confidence just to get through situations. They put on a performance, raise their voice, exaggerate their presence, and hope no one notices the uncertainty underneath. So when they see you standing calm, speaking only when you have something worth saying, and not competing for attention, it challenges their entire understanding of what confidence looks like. Picture being in a meeting where others are fighting to dominate the conversation. You speak only when it adds real value, and you do so without trying to impress. Later, someone might pull you aside and say, "You're so quiet. Are you sure you're comfortable?" What they really mean is, "I don't understand how you can be confident without putting on a show." The truth is that your self-assurance does not need an audience. You are not trying to convince anyone you belong. You already know you do. This kind of confidence does not spike when people are watching and does not disappear when they are not. It is steady, private, and deeply rooted. Those who think it is a facade are revealing more about their own insecurities than about you. They cannot imagine being that comfortable in their own skin without pretending. So they decide you must be pretending too. But their doubt does not change the reality. Quiet confidence is still confidence, and it lasts far longer than the noisy kind that needs constant applause to survive. Number 11. They see your detachment from trends as outdated. It is fascinating how quickly people judge someone who does not jump on every new trend. In today's world, staying updated on what is in has become almost a requirement for being seen as relevant. Whether it is a viral dance, the latest slang, or a fashion style that will be forgotten in 2 months, there is pressure to join in or risk being labeled as old-fashioned. When you choose not to participate, many assume you are out of touch. They do not stop to think that you might simply not be interested. To them, not chasing trends means you must be missing something, when in reality you may just see through the temporary excitement that everyone else gets caught up in. Picture this. At work, everyone is buzzing about the newest productivity app, swearing it will change their lives. You're still using the method that works for you, and because you do not jump on the bandwagon, someone jokes that you are behind the times. The truth is, in 6 months, most of them will have abandoned the app, while you will still be consistent and productive. The same happens with fashion. You might stick to a personal style that suits you, even if it is not what influencers are wearing this week. People may quietly assume you do not know what is popular, when the reality is you simply do not care to let trends dictate your choices. What they miss is that detachment from trends is not a sign of being left behind. It is often a sign of being ahead, because while they are chasing what is current, you are building something timeless. You are not out of touch, you are simply out of reach for those who measure worth by how quickly someone can mimic the crowd. In a world that moves in cycles, being steady is not outdated, it is rare. And rare always outlasts what is just in style for the moment. Number 12. They find her intimidating, but don't know why. With a Sigma female, intimidation does not come from loudness or aggression. It comes from a kind of quiet strength that people cannot quite put their finger on. She is not the type to storm into situations, throw her weight around, or demand attention. Yet when she is there, something shifts in the atmosphere. People feel it before they can explain it. Her presence unsettles not because she tries to overpower anyone, but because she is completely grounded. She does not fidget to fill silences. She does not scramble to impress. and she does not seek permission to be herself. This kind of self-possession is rare, and when people are used to reading others' emotions for cues on how to feel, her steady composure throws them off. Imagine a heated discussion in a group. Voices are raised, opinions are flying, and emotions are high. Most people are swept into the chaos, talking faster and louder just to be heard. The Sigma female, however, sits back, listening intently. When she does speak, it is calm and measured, as if the noise around her has not touched her at all. She does not argue to win. She speaks only when she has something worth saying. This control over herself makes others feel as though they have less control over her, and that is what really shakes them. People who thrive on dominance expect a push and pull, a reaction to measure their own power against. When they cannot get that from her, they feel strangely powerless. It is not about her being cold or detached. In fact, she may be warm, kind, and approachable, but there is a firm line between her inner world and the outside noise, and no one can cross it without her consent. This is why some find her intimidating without being able to explain it. They are not used to someone who cannot be rattled or pulled into their emotional current. Her calm is not just the absence of chaos. It is a deliberate choice to stand firmly in her own center, no matter who tries to shake her balance. In final words, have you ever wondered why some people react so strongly to you without you even doing much? That is the reality of being a Sigma female. You are not here to blend into the background or be easily understood, and that is not a flaw. It is a strength most will never have the courage to carry. The truth is, the world often struggles with what it cannot predict or control. People will project their fears, insecurities, and hidden desires onto you. Some will see you as a challenge they cannot win, while others will quietly see you as the standard they wish they could reach. This is not about being perfect. It is about living in a way that makes you feel whole, even if that unsettles others. You must remember that being misunderstood is part of being rare. Not everyone has the capacity to meet you where you are, and that is fine. You were never meant to fit into every circle or be embraced by every hand that reaches for you. Your worth is not decided by how many people understand you. It is shaped by your ability to stay steady when others try to pull you in directions that are not yours. Every time you choose integrity over acceptance, you sharpen the very qualities that make you powerful. Every time you stand your ground without needing to crush others, you show that real strength can be quiet but unshakable. And every time someone tries to define you and fails, you remind the world that you are the one holding the pen to your story. So let them think what they will. Admiration or resentment, it changes nothing about who you are. Your job is not to make everyone comfortable. Your job is to live in such a way that when you look back, you know you stayed true to yourself. That is where your power has always been and where it always will be. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.